Good afternoon, fellow Plexers. Yesterday I posted a video trying to help Fred out, who had hard drive issues and had to recover files off a hard drive to only have his media named in gobbledygook file names and folder names. Well, I was having him use MKV toolnix to see if there was embedded media names in the files itself, to then use that to make a new copy of the media that had whatever name the file was originally that could then be used in Filebot. Fortunately, the developer of Filebot chimed into the thread, and he let me know that Filebot can look into embedded metadata and drop this URL on me and this formula for an expression. So I've been playing around with it a little bit today, and I've got more success with movies than I do TV shows. So I've used his mediaTitle twice, once to create a folder structure and once to rename the file. And in case someone who's afflicted with this issue has external subtitles, I've added on the subtitle formula to help with that. It's not perfect, but it is better. So I couldn't use the mediaTitle twice for an episode, and I'll show that once I'm done demonstrating the movies. So I think this is the best option to make a first pass, and you can always use MKV toolnix manually to open things up with. So I'll post the link and stuff. And what I did is I took these movies, just grabbed them off my server, and I renamed the folders and the file name with the same gobbledygook number. Now with a TV series, that's not going to quite work because your folder will have some oddly named for it. The seasons will have their own oddly names, and then the episodes will all be oddly named. But I'm just assuming that the folder and the movie have the same weird file name, which may not even be the case. So what I've done is these are the 5 movies all renamed, and the only thing that's the same is the subtitle matches the gobbledygook media name. So what else I did to prep is I created 2 custom expressions and called them recovery movie and recovery TV episode. So if we edit the TV one, you'll see that it's just the formula that was supplied by the Filebot developer plus the formula for external subtitle renaming. The data source is just the TVDB, and I guess this could equally be the movie database for episodes. And if we edit the preset for recovery movies, you'll see I added the mediaTitle formula slash mediaTitle and then the subtitle formula. So let's throw in our test movie directory or movie folder. And I found if I renamed these pretty generic, it worked better. If I renamed this recovery, Filebot may think I'm looking for a movie named recovery. So they're all in here. Let me just try the expression. Recovery movies. Just hit cancel for any of these questions, and you'll see that we've got a hit on everything but the last 2 movies. So it knows that the first group is Destiny Rides Again from 1939 and that it had remastered in the original file name. Then from 2006 we have 10 items or less movie and subtitle file. And for 1974 we have Phase 4, also remastered, which is listed in the original file name. And now this is going to be a 2-part process, because we really don't want the folder named as the actual file, but it's better than leaving it unnamed. And let me point this out. So if I didn't rename, or if I didn't create a folder with Filebot at this point, when I hit rename, I'm just going to have the properly named movies and subtitles mixed in, and I'd rather have a wrong folder to then run through Filebot again more easier. So let me just run this. 7 renamed, and you'll see immediately we created these 3 folders. These will have to be identified manually. There's just no choice of saving them quickly because there's no embedded metadata. So let me get rid of all this. Now I can simply drag these 3 back in and use a normal expression. I could use the Plex binding, which won't create a folder. I could use Filebot's default organized movies for Plex, which is going to move this media to this structure, media movies, capital MEDIA, and then a subfolder, capital MOVIES. That's great if you're working on a local hard drive. It'll just create this and move it to this structure, but I'll use my own custom expression. So I'll use my expression movie TMDB structure. I could rename only, or I could use the IMDB structure, and that keeps the file in place. It's in my download folder, in my Filebot working folder subdirectory, in the movie subdirectory, in this media subdirectory, and then it just creates the structure where it is. So now this is Phase 4, 1974, and it uses the IMDb source number in the folder, and it's overkill, but I put that source in the file name too, and it's also grabbing the edition information from the original embedded file name. So now I have the same thing for TMDB, which is what I normally use, and you'll see the only thing that's changed is the source ID in both the folder and file name. So let me bring this down so you can see that more clearly. So we have 3 not great folders, and look, we all know where this media came from, so let's not discuss that in the group. We all know the group rules against piracy, and it's in place to protect the group, not for any moral judgment by our wonderful admin and moderation staff. So we'll just not talk about the source of any video because, you know, let thee who cast the first stone, right? Alright, so we'll rename these, and you see they're automatically renamed to the same specifications you see in all my Filebot videos. So that will be a time saver, not having to use MKV toolnix first to create a new container that has the embedded information in it. This is a great tip by the developer of Filebot. He's helped me out in the past. He helped me come up with everything I needed to determine if a file has embedded English subtitles or non-English subtitles, and apply a flag to the file name so I could just see what I had by reading the file name, looking at the file name. So that's test 1. So now I've got media in folders instead of just loose. So I'm going to drag those folders in, and we'll do this test again. So I'll use the recovery-movies, cancel through all these, and you'll see that we're going to end up with the same thing, with the same goofy folder names, but now they're outside of the folder. So I can, let me get rid of these in Filebot first. I can drag these back into Filebot, use my custom expression, and now it's created the folder structure, but everything happened one level above. Now, I'm not sure how Filebot determines where to do it. On my long-term use of elementary OS, it always named in place. Now that I'm using Pop OS, sometimes it renames and creates folder structure in place, and sometimes it pops up a folder. So your experience may be different, but no matter how it is, how it creates that folder structure, the files are there to use. So now these can be just dragged back into the Plex library during a rebuild. So let's just tuck these where they came from for now. And again, these will have to be manually checked. And I really don't know what Fred is dealing with. If he's got external subtitles, I don't know if they end up with the same file name or if that has to be searched too. Because when you open up a file name or a subtitle, SRT subtitle, there is not the title of the movie listed any place. The best you could do is maybe highlight a longer line of dialogue and Google search it and hope you come up with the answer of what movie it's in.
Here are some details.
Well, my trusty tablet that's open is trying to answer my questions as I speak. All right, so now we're going to try TV shows, which I didn't have as much luck with. So I think I did some old TV shows. I Love Lucy, or actually, I didn't finish this. Nope, I got some illegal characters in there. I've got Everybody Loves Elizabeth, and I'm not sure what the other show was. So I'm going to drag those in. And we'll try the TV show expression. Recovery-TV episodes. Cancel out of all those goofy things. And nothing. And that could mean there's no embedded metadata. So let's check that first. Let's just get rid of Filebot. And let's open up MKV Toolnix. All right, so create new multiplex settings for each file. And if I look at the output, there's nothing there for either entry. So we'll just assume that's the same for the whole show. And we'll do this. We'll drag those in. Same setting. So we don't have any embedded metadata. So I kind of wasted my time doing that. But what I want to do is I want to go into my own library. And I'll do that off screen. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows highlighted. I have 8 Simple Rules, 11/22/63, 50 States of Fright, 1983, 1923, and 1971, the year that changed everything. So I'm going to open that in Filebot off screen. Now, I don't recommend doing this at home because you don't want to screw up what already works for you. But I will see what happens when I click Recovery for TV episodes. And this is going to be slow, because it's going to my Synology NAS. Well, it's not that slow. So the 8 Simple Rules show, didn't find anything. 11/22/63, you'll see that the embedded metadata is from the original optical disc rip, which will be more helpful than not, I guess, maybe, but you still need to identify what disc it is. 50 States of Fright is only grabbing metadata from the subtitle file. Subtitle language tag is only defined for subtitle files, and that's in brackets. And this red X means I don't think Filebot's going to rename it. But that doesn't mean you can't open up one folder, and when you see this, you know it's 50 States of Fright as the show. And if it's only a 1-season show, maybe maybe this external subtitle or the embedded subtitle will help you know which episode is which to manually rename while Filebot's open. You can't rename it here. So my 1983, you see that the first episode has embedded metadata, but the rest doesn't, which means they came from different sources. But at least I know that the first episode in that folder is going to be for this show, which will give me more information for the rest. And again, the red X means I can't rename anything. Same is true for 1923. There's just subtitles that will help you determine what it is. And 1971, the year the music changed everything, has subtitles that have embedded information, but the actual video file inside the container doesn't have embedded information. So it's not quite as helpful in my experimentation with TV shows, but it does help you identify things a little bit. But it's an actual hit for movies to run Filebot in a two-part way. So that's what I found. It will speed things up for Fred a little bit. And again, use the mediaTitle twice. Add the subtitle option if you have external SRT subtitles. And then just use whatever Filebot expression you normally used a second time to clean up the recovered file names. You still have to explore what the unrecovered file names are and do that manually. So thanks for watching, and a special thanks and appreciation to the developer of Filebot who chimed in with this great tip. Happy plexing.